Oh yeah. Woo! Hello everyone and welcome back to Bag. Today we're going to be diving into a very, very, very epic and awesome topic today. You might know it, you might have seen it on the store shelves, you might have drank it before, or you might have not been allowed to drink it. And that is Mountain Dew. So we're going to be diving in today the topic of Mountain Dew. These guys are the quintessential example of how to do marketing and branding right. And this is going to be our first marketing topic that we're covering on Bag. So strap yourselves in. It's going to be a wild ride. So to get us started off, Mountain Dew, where did it originate? So, going all the way back in the 1940s to the humble hills of Appalachia in Tennessee, we have two brothers, Barney and Allie Hartman. These guys, they were like, man, we're just up here in the Appalachian Mountains here in Knoxville, Tennessee, and we like these soda mixers that are out here on the market, but it's so hard to get them up here because these soda mixers, they were very regional at the time. Soda was a big thing, you have the soda shops and everything you'd go to, or you're a distributor. Most of these soda mixers were, used as mixers for alcoholic beverages, and these guys were looking for some of that, But they were getting tired. I mean, they owned their own bottling company, but it was hard for them to get the supplies they needed for these mixers. So they're like, what the heck? Why don't we just create our own? And that's what they did. So what did they create? Well, they went for a lemon lime soda specifically designed to be mixed with whiskey. And what did they name it? Well, you probably, we'll give you a couple seconds here. What do you think? Yeah, they just named it Mountain Dew. It was, that was the first name they went with, so. And Mountain Dew, where does that name come from? So, they named it Mountain Dew as a playful nod to Appalachian slang for moonshine at the time, which I think is just perfect if you're making a soda mixer that's meant to be mixed with whiskey and just naming it Mountain Dew, kind of that tip of the hat to the years of the Prohibition era. So very, very cool, and glad to see that name kind of stuck around. They don't really change that much throughout the history. So now, after creating this wonderful new beverage that was originally designed to be a mixer called Mountain Dew, they kept it regional for a while, and it was a big, big hit, and that stayed pretty consistent for the most time from the 40s onwards until 1961, when the Tip Corporation of Virginia acquired the brand. They were like, hey, we see what you guys are doing. We love it. Give us that. We want it. And so they bought them. Now, what Tip Corporation did was they tweaked the formula a little bit, made it a little bit sweeter, and started marketing it as its own standalone drink. And that's what we have today now. While marketing the drink as its own standalone offering, these guys created the iconic mascot for Mountain Dew known as Willie the Hillbilly. You also might have seen him on some of the throwback cans as well, or throwback bottles. Sometimes they do that where they make it with real sugar in it, like they used to before the Reagan era and the cornstarch overtaking. But yeah, very cool design, and just really, really on point with the brand and the history. Really, really good. Love it all around, guys. Love it all around. Now, the Tip Corporation only really had control over these guys for about 4 years here. From 1961 until 1964. That's where a real turning point came in, because that's where PepsiCo, the giant soda conglomerate, and they just came in and were like, hey, we want that Mountain Dew. So they acquired it. Now, this was a real game changer, like I said. PepsiCo had the resources and the distribution network to kind of really expand Mountain Dew from just a regional favorite within the eastern side of the country to that national powerhouse that it is today. Moving into the 1970s and 80s, Mountain Dew began to shift its marketing with PepsiCo. They started targeting a more young and more active demographic. So I noticed these sales numbers are like, who's buying this Mountain Dew? Is it these redneck hillbillies in the Appalachian Mountains mixing it with moonshine? No, not anymore. It's this young, youthful demographic, and they're like, okay, That's who we're targeting now. They started using slogans like "Hello Sunshine," "Hello Mountain Dew," and that eventually paved the way for the one that we know now of "Do the Dew," which encouraged customers to embrace adventure and excitement. They were like, you know, it would be really a great idea to kind of really push that action and that adventurous aspect. Let's just do something as crazy as like just showcasing a bunch of cool stuff, man. Let's BMX, motocross, snowboarding, all the stuff that they were basically like the beginners of like what Red Bull became. You know, they were the ones that first kind of started this trend of let's just do extreme sports, and that's what's gonna sell us. Which works. I mean, Red Bull has been crushing it. They just kind of took it to a whole nother level in the modern era. But these guys, these were the first ones. All right. Don't forget who paved the path we walk on today. All right. And by 1995, they became the first ever sponsor, you know, I'm assuming title sponsor, of what is now the X Games.
Nothing's more intense than slamming Mountain Dew. Oh yeah, while watching the Extreme Games on ESPN. Decent.
And eventually, this marketing tactic grew after the X Games into their own extreme sports event called the Dew Tour in the mid 2000s. So they were like, X Games, it's getting, you know, played out. We were there, done it. Let's do our own thing, you know, kind of Miles Morales style, you know. In 2009, the brand changed its name slightly from the full name Mountain Dew to the abbreviated Mountain Dew. So this was to fit with PepsiCo's minimalist design philosophy that they kind of had in the late 2000s, early 2010s, that they were kind of running with. You know, if you ever seen the Pepsi redesign, you know, booklet that they created and published of the just some very odd things in that design. I think they might have maybe gotten ripped off a little bit by that design firm that they hired out to redesign their logos and everything, but we're not talking about them right now. They ran with this abbreviated Mountain Dew brand identity change for a little bit, but I actually had just, you know, recently nowadays changed it back to the full name Mountain Dew. So good to see that they're going back to the full lettering here rather than an abbreviation. Now, we talked about the history of Mountain Dew, where it came from, what they were doing, their marketing tactics, all that stuff, right? But what people really think about when they think Mountain Dew is the flavors. I mean, come on, guys. You can't tell me you haven't been craving a nice Baja Blast every once in a while. Let's be honest. So, starting off, one of the most popular flavors that you can buy off the shelf started in 2001, rightly named Code Red. So, Mountain Dew, before 2001, was largely synonymous with its signature bright citrus color, you know, the yellow, greenish, I don't really know what you would call this. This is what they were known as. They were like, let's just switch it up. Let's just this is getting boring, man. And this is right about that time when they were going to that extreme sports stuff. So this made total sense for them to pivot and kind of be like, let's introduce more flavors that are just like this bold, on the shelf, gonna grab your attention, you know, eye-catching design. So they went with Code Red. Now, Code Red was a bold, dark red, cherry-flavored variant of Mountain Dew, and let me tell you, it was a revelation for the brand. It proved that the name was strong enough to support drastically different flavor palettes, giving PepsiCo the confidence to kind of pursue and just expand rapid fire off these different, you know, flavors. They're like, this one, let's do this one, let's do this one. And, this was the start. Code Red was, you know, they walked so we could run. All right, Code Red, we salute you. Next, after Code Red came Mountain Dew Livewire, which was officially released in 2003 as a limited summertime flavor, which after 2 years became part of Mountain Dew's permanent product line. That's how popular it was. So, yeah, this was, you know, they were experimenting here in the early 2000s with these flavors. Started with Code Red, got Livewire, and it just kind of blew up. And I'm glad it did. But moving on, where does one of the most, besides Code Red, recognizable flavors of Mountain Dew come in? Well, we have officially reached the year 2004. The official launch of Baja Blast. Now, the launch of Baja Blast in 2004, this was a just absolute masterstroke of marketing. Absolutely. I know we just talked about that, but it really is. In product development too. Everyone knows what Baja Blast is. All right. Code Red, people might not know about that. I mean, that's kind of like that OG Unk status, if you know about that. I mean, it's still popular, but Baja Blast, come on. Everyone knows about a Baja Blast. By making the wildly popular tropical lime flavor exclusive only to Taco Bell fountains. So you can only get it at Taco Bell. Not anymore, but that's how it used to be. You know, they would run with these exclusives to kind of get these people into these different stores. The brand had accomplished 2 key goals. Number 1, drive traffic to partnering restaurants, aka Taco Bell. And 2, it generated scarcity and demand among fans who would create bootleg versions at home and lobby for a retail release. Now, this strategy has been replicated numerous times after its enormous success. All right, let's be honest. Like I said, everyone knows what a Baja Blast is. So they started expanding a little bit into other chains like KFC with their Sweet Lightning flavor. That's pretty good if you like some peach flavored stuff. It's very, very good. It does pair well with the food too. I'll be honest. Like, they are pretty good at doing that meshing of palates. It's very good. Buffalo Wild Wings Legend flavor, which unfortunately ended in 2025. So RIP Legend. And they've also partnered with retailers like Dollar General with their Mahi Burst, Walmart with Frostbite, which unfortunately ended in 2025 as well, RIP. And even, now this is new to me, guys. I had no idea this existed, but their very first alcoholic product, the Dugarita, which was present in Red Lobsters from 2020 to 2022. So during those COVID years, they were like, man, we need to help out Red Lobster and make a margarita Mountain Dew, which I can only imagine how that would have tasted. So if anybody knows the recipe to that, shoot that over, because that'll be, maybe I'll create maybe a little short of trying that, because I can only, that is baffling to me. All right, moving on. We're going to talk about some fun and odd facts about the brand Mountain Dew, which you could probably say that about everything we just talked about as being fun and odd. However, these ones are, a little bit out there and doesn't really fit in with any of the other segments we talked about today. So, interesting enough, we talked about Willie the Hillbilly, the mascot, the OG mascot, picked up in the 1960s. Now, while Willie was the well-known original, in the very, very early days, some bottles actually featured a character called Willie the Mountain Man, which, had a bit of a caricature of like a prospector, which you could kind of say the same thing about Willie the Hillbilly. But, Willie the Hillbilly, which is just such a better name, like Willie the Mountain Man, like doesn't really have that twist. Willie the Hillbilly eventually won out. Fact number 3, Mountain Dew has deeply entrenched itself in the gamer atmosphere. I'm sure we all know about the MLG days back in the 2010s, guys. All right, Mountain Dew Doritos, that was all the rage. Beyond sponsorships, they've launched game-themed flavors like Game Fuel and even integrated themselves into games. Very interesting. Wow. It's truly become the unofficial drink of many late-night gaming sessions. For years, there's been an urban legend about a condition so-called Dew Mouth, which is severe tooth decay, supposedly unique to Mountain Dew drinkers. While sugary sodas are undoubtedly bad for your teeth, we can all agree on that, there's nothing chemically unique about Mountain Dew that makes it any worse than any other high sugar sodas. It's more about, I feel like frequency of how much are you drinking it than, and dental hygiene compared to just the drink itself. I also know there's the thing about Mountain Dew harming infertility rates, which I'm assuming that's also another myth, because I've known people that are like at 40s, 50s that they're just sipping a 2-liter Mountain Dew all day and they seem to be doing just fine. So, well, probably not. Their internals are probably screaming for help, but you know what I mean. And there you have it, folks. The wild, vibrant, and surprisingly long history of Mountain Dew. From a moonshine mixer to an extreme sports icon and a flavor innovator, it's a brand that truly knows how to evolve and adapt to keep its fans coming back for more and more, which is what every brand strives to do, but they just do it better. All right, let's be honest. Comment down below, what's your favorite flavor of Mountain Dew? Mine is probably, man, the original is good. I'm going to be honest. I like the original. Baja Blast, that's probably tied. Sometimes, it's what you're in the mood for. And it's awesome they give you the options, you know, so you don't have to go to one of the other brands. You can choose within their own brand line. So absolutely phenomenal. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, hit the bell notification for more. We're going to be talking more and more about different brands as we go on with this channel, and other things that I say, you know, stuff like this. So make sure that you don't miss the next adventure. Thank you all for watching as always, and do the do. Thank you.